Is celebrating a major upgrade to the wastewater treatment plant at its facility near Sergeant Bluff. And KTIV cameras were there today as Gelita makes gelatin and collagen, which are two ingredients found in food, medicine, and supplements. Making those products really creates a lot of contaminated wastewater on the other end, which this plant then treats before it does get discharged into the Missouri River. Now, before the big transformation, Iowa State Lab documented black water in the Missouri River near that discharge site. KTV's Taylor Deckert tonight with more on the upgrades that have been made and the effort to reduce the discharge. Taylor, what can you tell us?
Yes, Jessica. Well, this open house today marks the end of years of violations and the beginning of what regulators hope is a new standard for industrial discharge in Iowa. According to an Iowa DNR sampling inspection for March of 2025, the plant was processing nearly double its design capacity, impacting what was going into the Missouri River. Gelita built this new plant because the government required them to better clean up what was going into the river. Gelatin manufacturing produces lots of protein and fats, and as bacteria breaks down protein, they produce ammonia, which is categorized as a toxic pollutant, and the DNR found this had exceeding ammonia limits multiple times. And one of the new improvements, though, take a look at this. This facility has UV disinfection, something the old facility didn't have. That UV light treats that damages the DNA of bacteria, viruses, and other microorganisms. Here it is, transforming before our eyes, and they say this will significantly improve their compliance with the Iowa DNR.
We met with the EPA and the Iowa DNR probably 18 months, 2 years ago. It's been a long dialogue with them, but they were great partners, great to work with. And this wastewater treatment plant allows us to basically meet those new regulations that have been put in place. This actually brings us forward from a compliance standpoint for a long-term sustainable operation.
As we've said, today's open house is celebrating completion of its new wastewater treatment facility. The company says this isn't just about compliance, it's about being a long-term neighbor in Siouxland. And the DNR says it's going to continue monitoring to make sure it stays that way. Jessica?
All right, Taylor, thanks for that. And Gelita USA, by the way, has been in Siouxland for about 30 years and employs around 200 people.